girlfriend. All I need in this life to say is me and my girlfriend.
We all knew it was gonna happen, baby. We all knew from when it started. From the draft night, from the epic draft moment when that first pick was cast for Demaryius Thomas, we all knew, deep down in our hearts, deep down in the heart of every single ACAFL owner, we all knew collectively, together, that the belt was coming home to the great one. Because at the end of the day, what it comes down to is, I am the ACAFFL. This has never been a question. This has never been debated. This has always been understood. This has always been accepted. This has always been fact. F-A-C-T in capital letters, underlined twice, exclamation point, exclamation point. And if you're feeling frisky, throw a smiley face underneath it to make it look real special. But this is not what this video is about, guys. This isn't a video of me just prancing around with my girlfriend here. This isn't just me and the belt going on a world tour, a world victory tour for the Nakolec Nightmares, the single greatest team in ACAFFL history, shattering records en route to a dominating performance in the Super Bowl, scoring 150 points, the most points scored ever in a Super Bowl, an 11-2 regular season record, the most wins in regular season history in the ACAFFL. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not abnormal. No. This is the new norm. This is the new great one. This is the new King of Kings. This is the new man. I am the guy now, and I always will be when it comes to the ACAFFL. And aside from showing off my new shiny toy here, I have some ACAFFL rules, new amendments that are going to go into place for this season. And I also want to explain to each of the great losers in this league just what exactly this entails, because there will be a vote that will come out very shortly after this video. I'll type it all up, I'll email it to everyone, and everyone can vote on these couple things here. And we can get going for the next season, for the next day, the next reign in this championship. Oh, man, this is going to be a fun ride, guys. I hope you all come along with me on this ride, because I'm going to enjoy every single second of this Bukurosh right here. Bukuroshka, I should say. Bukuroshka. Let's make it feminine. Love it. All right, I'm going to start this off. This is something that I think needed to be fixed here. It's about the quarterbacks. It's about the way quarterbacks are scored in our league, the way they get the points. There is some discrepancies in these points because you get some quarterbacks that are in the top 5, top 6 of scoring that probably shouldn't be, that don't deserve to be. And the big one that comes to mind is Tyrod Taylor. And so this amendment, which bears his name, this is going to be called the Tyrod Taylor Amendment. This is something to really, the goal in this offseason was to benefit great football players at their position and make sure that they are better than average football players at their position. And that's why I use Tyrod Taylor, a guy who isn't a top 5 or a top 10 quarterback in the NFL, but in our fantasy football league was one, and I don't think that should be the way it is. So there's a couple things here. I'm going to explain the way quarterbacks are from now on going to be scored. But the thing to pay attention to, and this is where the voting comes into play, is there are 2 separate modes of scoring here, and I'm going to list them both down, and then we're going to have to vote and see which one we go with. So the option 1 is for when a quarterback gets 4 points for a passing touchdown. This is how everything else will break down in that list, and then you'll see what it'll look like if you want quarterbacks passing touchdowns to be worth 6 points. So option 1 is, again, a quarterback scoring 4 points for every touchdown pass. This also goes along with him getting a -1 point for an interception. He will get -2 points, so an extra minus if that interception is returned for a touchdown. That is a total of 2 minus points, not 3. It's not 2 plus 1. He's just going to get the -2 points for the pick 6. When a quarterback gets sacked, this is the big one here for the scrambling quarterbacks to kind of bring them down. Every quarterback sack is going to be a -0.5 point. again, in this scoring structure with a 4-point touchdown. Fumble loss is still going to be -2 points, but this is another new one. When a quarterback just fumbles the ball but recovers, -1 point. So that's going to tack on as well for these quarterbacks who lose the ball but recover it. And then you still get 25. You can still get a 1 point for every 25 passing yards, and the rushing stats will go in correlation with running back and receiving, rushing and receiving stats. So that doesn't change. So that's option 1. Option 2, we go to a 6-point touchdown. And now pretty much what you do with this is you just add on to all the other numbers. So an interception is now -2 points as opposed to -1 point. A pick 6 is -4 points as opposed to 2 points. A sack is now -1 point, not just a half a point. Fumble loss remains at 2 points. Fumble that is recovered is 1 point, and passing yards is still the same at 25 yards. So that's what you're voting for, is what scale do you want it to be at. Ultimately, they produce the same results for these quarterbacks. It's just, do you want to see your quarterback get 6 points for a touchdown pass, or do you only want to see him get 4 points for a touchdown pass? It's the only difference in this league. So that'll be what the vote is. But regardless, quarterback changes are going to be made. Most notably, they're going to get minuses for sacks, minuses for just fumbling and recovering it, and the bigger minus for the pick 6. So that's the Tyrod Taylor amendment. Next up, I want to move on to running backs, receivers, tight ends. The only change, and this is something that's now been implemented into the league, is -1 point for a fumble, even if that's recovered. So you still get the -2 points for the lost fumble, but only 1 minus point is going to be added on for just a regular fumble loss. This is going to bring scoring down a little bit. Half-point PPR stays, a point for every 10 yards stays with fraction points, and 6 points for a touchdown. That all stays for there. Move on now to the kickers. This one is going to be called the Dustin Hopkins Amendment. Now, a lot of number crunching went into this one as we compared Dustin Hopkins, who is a relatively average field goal kicker in the NFL, to Justin Tucker, who is by far the best field goal kicker in the NFL. Their point totals were pretty much identical throughout the season. And that's a big no-no because you have one as the best kicker and one as a middle-of-the-road kicker. So we tried to devise a way to figure out how this could change. So again, this one actually has no voting to it. This is just a new amendment. This is the Dustin Hopkins Amendment. This is kicker scoring from here on out in the ACAFFL until we decide to change it again after Moni complains. 1 to 39-yard field goals is 3 points. But with that 3 point, you get -2 points if your kicker misses one of those field goals. This kind of goes into what we added last year with the, it's a heavy belt, with the missed extra point, how you lose a point for a missed extra point. Well, really, if you're missing a kick within 40 yards, it's like missing an extra point. So we're going to get -2 points on that. If you make a field goal from 40 to 49 yards, it's 4 points and only -1 point if you miss it. Again, this is where the benefit of a guy like Justin Tucker, who just doesn't miss field goals, so you don't have to worry about those misses, as opposed to a guy like Dustin Hopkins, who misses a whole bunch of field goals, and he would be minus those points. So it kind of, again, brings everyone down the path. 50-plus yards, you get 5 points. No minus for missing a 50-yarder. And again, I know I keep beating this down, but Justin Tucker had like 10 50-yard field goals. This boosts his value, as now he would be getting a whole extra point for that 50-plus yard field goal. Extra points, you still get 1 point for making it, and you still get 1 point for missing it. That's not going to change. So these are all the things that kind of get wrapped into this now. That's the new rule for kickers, so it's something to keep in mind because that is going to change the value of certain kickers. It really does put a priority on your top kickers as opposed to your run-of-the-mill kickers. For defense, we also have a little bit of a change here for the defense. We're calling this one the 85 Bears Amendment. So this is going to, again, only really going to work for a really great defense. Your run-of-the-mill defenses are pretty much going to score the same amount of points, but your top-flight defenses are going to get a bigger reward. So now, a shutout, boom, is worth 12 points. Last year it was 10 points. Now you're getting 12 points for that shutout. We know that those are rare in today's NFL. If your defense allows 1 to 6 points, they're going to get 9 points for that. If your defense allows 7 to 13, it's 7. 14 to 20 points allowed, and that's you 3 points. 21 to 27 points gets you the point. So that's the break-off point right there. Now, if you give up 28 to 34 points as a defense, you get -1 point. And if you give up over 35 points, you lose 4 points to that. That's kind of the big one for the defense. Again, I guess it hurts your real junky defenses, but it benefits your really good defenses. And finally, we go to the playoff structure. This was the big one here. This is the one that, for some of you, doesn't matter because you can't make the playoffs. Some of you are so bad. Like, I don't know, let's look at the career standings. Someone like a Timmy Suleimani, who has a career record of 13, 25, and 1. Are you kidding me, Timmy? That is a .346 winning percentage. You are a joke, my friend, in this fantasy football league. And for a guy that was gifted Antonio Brown with the number 2 overall pick, way to waste it, buddy. I truly am ashamed of you. I'd also just like to note that your winningest owner in ACAFL history is the guy with the strap, 25-14 overall. So just like to say that Moni nowhere near the first spot is, he loves so much. But back to what I was getting towards is the playoff format. There will be a change in the playoff structure. Going from now on, it's no longer going to be 8 teams gifted into the playoffs. This is a joke to me. 8 teams do not deserve to make the playoffs in a 14-team league. That is more than half the league. That is pitiful. A guy like Moni, who had such a bad season, did not deserve to face the champion in the first round. I should not have had to lower myself to his shitty standards because he backed his way into the playoffs with a losing record. That's not how I run these things. So we're changing it. So the playoff format, but again, there's a vote to this. There's going to be 2 different options you can vote for. The first vote is to drop playoffs down to 6 teams. This is what you generally see in leagues. This is what you generally see in teams. 6 teams make the playoffs. Your top 2 seeds get the bye week. 3 plays 6, 4 plays 5, and so on and so forth in the playoffs. You kind of get how that mode works. The other form, and I thought this was a pretty clever one, is 7 teams make the playoffs. I know it seems odd with the odd number, but the way this would work out is your regular season champ, and if we think back to this season, the guy that went 11-2, he would have gotten a first round bye. And then you get 6 teams ranked 2 through 7 to play on week 14. This would be considered like our wild card round. So they would play out. You get 3 winners would come out of there. Then you bring over the bye week, this guy, and you get your 4 teams. So on week 15, you get 2 matchups. And then week 16, you play your Super Bowl, and you get your champion, this guy, the guy who gets the belt at the end of the year. Those are your 2 voting options. But regardless, playoff structure will change. I think this is for the better of the league. This makes the regular season more competitive, and I think that's the ultimate goal of what we want to get to in this league, is to make it as competitive as possible. And by doing this, you really got to gun it. I mean, you got to work it. You can't throw weeks away during the regular season. You really have to get your wins cooking early and often if you want to make the playoffs, and you want to get this sucker right here. The final thing, I'll touch on this real quickly. Again, this is going to go to a vote, is payouts. I think we can, as a league, we can handle moving up from $100, adding more money to the pot. There's a couple different ways we can do this. We can just add $25, which would make it $125 entry fee. The champion would still pay $50 less to cover shipping and handling costs. Or we could bump it up $50 and go to $150. Again, champion still pays $50 less. This adds either $350 or $700 to the pot, which can be fluttered through your winners, first, second, and third place. I also think we should add on some money towards finishing the regular season with the number 1 record, especially if we switch to the 17 playoff format. That makes it very easy. The guy who gets the bye week should get some money for his regular season dominance. Other than that, there's going to be a slot in the survey to add on what you want to say. Let me know anything. We'll take it under consideration. I have no problem jumping back on camera with this sucker right next to me and doing another video and asking you guys about more changes to the league. I'm open for it. This is the kind of commissioner you have, okay? I'm not Enver Hoxha. I'm Barack Obama. I'm a president. I'm not a dictator here, okay? I'm a guy who works for the people. That's what I am. That's what I want to be. I want to be your fighting champion and fighting commissioner. So that's how I'll leave you guys. I'll send out those surveys. I'll get the results as quickly as possible. If someone puts in some cool ideas that they have with the league, we can bring that up. We can vote on it. Or heck, maybe if it's really good, we'll just do it. I'll just throw it in there if it's a really good idea that I think benefits the league. These are things we're going to have to worry about. These are things we're going to have to continue on throughout the rest of this offseason. That's it, guys. Enjoy it. Look at me like this, because this is how you're going to see me from now on. This belt is not leaving my shoulder. It's always going to... Doesn't it look good, though? The flag, the ACA, the only good thing Suleimani's done for the ACAFL, this beautiful logo right there. Got the eagle right there. Oh, champion. Oh, it's a good look. I got to say, it's a good look on me. It goes good with the maize and blue as well. So until next time, guys, I know you're all waiting for my celebratory video. This was very humble, dude. This was not me bragging. This was me being very humble. In 14 minutes and 30 seconds, that was me being humble. Just imagine what I'm going to be like when I'm not humble. It's going to be unbearable. But you could thank Millie and Eddie and Moni for that, because they couldn't knock me down in the playoffs. Adios, guys. Until next time, the Commish says we out of here.